things that the EC have planned. So one, the first one they said they intend to do is that instead of doing limited voter registration, they are doing what they call continuous registration, which will happen at their district office. Is that an idea you are against at this time?
No, the NDC is not against continuous registration exercise, because since 2016 we've been engaging the Electoral Commission on the issue of continuous registration, and in fact it ought to have even started before the 2016 election. Modalities were put in place, but implementation was not done. So in principle, we are not against continuous registration.
So you are in favor of people, no matter how far they are from their districts, capitals, having to find Ghana card. Before I come to the Ghana card first, having to move to their district of the district capitals, find the district office of the Electoral Commission in order to register. You're in favor of
no,
that?
No, let me explain what I mean that we are not against continuous registration. The Electoral Commission periodically undertakes what we call limited registration exercise before any major election, especially when we are yet to do these assembly elections and subsequently the national election. Population census had been taken. The statistical service get to know the number of people who will be turning 18 and above, and so the Electoral Commission will then do what is called the limited registration, which is done across the country in virtually every registration center. That is what the Electoral Commission does, and that is what, in my estimation, they intend to do. But after the limited registration, when those above 18 have been captured, then the Electoral Commission does what is called the continuous registration, where after the limited registration, which is a mass registration nationwide, people who subsequently turn 18, maybe after 6 months or thereabout going, can walk to the Electoral Commission office and undertake a continuous registration exercise. So there are two separate issues. There is a limited registration, which is undertaken across the country, when there is a continuous registration, which is done after the limited registration has captured the estimated number of people who would have attained the 18 years and above since the previous registration was done.
Chairman, it seems we have two different briefings. I spoke to the Deputy EC Chairperson on this matter. He says there will be no limited voter registration. What they will do is continuous.
Well, then we have a difference, because what they normally do is to do the limited registration, which is spread across. Because if you talk about continuous registration, under the law, the continuous registration is to be done only at the EC offices. And if you do that, you burden Ghanaians. Becomes very laborious for people to travel, distances to come to the EC office to undertake registration. So anytime that there is an impending election, what the Electoral Commission does is to do a limited registration. And after the limited registration, which captures a large number of people, because in between the two elections, a number of people would have attained the age of 18, and it sometimes goes beyond 2 million or 3 million people. And so you cannot undertake continuous registration all of a sudden with about 2-3 million people, asking them to move these long distances to come. So my understanding is that the EC does limited registration, and after the limited registration, then the process of continuous registration. In fact, from the way it was designed, continuous registration should have even been done immediately after the election, so that every day that one wants to run into the Electoral Commission to do registration when you attain 18 years, you go and do it. I believe that doing that continuous registration with that critical mass of people and the higher population that is estimated to participate in will not be useful for Ghanaians.
Then perhaps I guess you may have to get the briefing right from the Electoral Commission, because from what he told me was very categorical, that they have moved away from limited voter registration. In fact, when I drew his attention to the isolated and remote areas where people have to travel long distance, he said they are considering going there to register people who they identified as remote, living in remote areas. So that is one. The other one I realized you were strongly against is the issue of the use of the Ghana card.
Yes, we raise issues of the Ghana card because you and I know the situation in the country today. Ever since the Ghana card was introduced, it has been very, very difficult for a lot of Ghanaians to have access to the Ghana card. You will recall that recently, when the Ministry of Communication, together with the telcos, decided that they are doing SIM registration, and so one will have to use Ghana card as a proof of identity before your SIM is registered. Look at the pandemonium that has been created across the length and breadth of this country. You ask yourself, is it that the people, because people get up in the morning at dawn, go and queue, and sometimes for 1 week be running after Ghana card and they don't get it. You see, under the Constitution, nothing should be done to prevent somebody who has attained the age of 18 from, carrying out his constitutional right of voting. And one of the requirements for somebody to exercise that franchise is to be registered as a voter. And so if you are going to use a system where millions of Ghanaians are not having access to that card, then of course you are going to disenfranchise those people. That is why when Dr. Farijan came out with a statement, we came out and supported him. That even with the SIM registration, and SIM registration is not a constitutional requirement, but in terms of one's ability to vote, it's a constitutional requirement under Article 42 of the Constitution. And so you cannot put impediments in people's way and make it very difficult for them. For us, if the the National Identification Authority had decentralized the issue of the NIA card, as they did, if they were even issuing NIA card on the spot, that you go in, they capture your data and everything, and the card is issued to you, and then it is decentralized across the country, and every Ghanaian is given the opportunity to go and register without any let of hindrance, and everybody has a card. We don't have any problem. But a situation where impediments have been put in people's way, and it's becoming extremely difficult for people to even access the Ghana card, then of course we will not sit aloof and say that the Ghana card should be the only means of proof of your citizenship, or only requirement that you can use to undertake a voter registration. And so when the CI came to Parliament, our MPs vehemently opposed that idea, and even came out of amendments to ensure that the requirement for registration will not be only the national ID card, but some other systems are put in place. For instance, the vouching system. You know that when you are going to register and you don't have a card in a community, and one person who is a registered voter or two people who can come and vouch for your identity, and then the Electoral Commission allows you to participate in the registration exercise. This has been the norm all along. And so these are some of the amendments that our MPs proposed towards the CI that was laid before. No, that is being prepared to be laid before Parliament to regulate the registration of voters for the next election.
Oh, so your MPs are actively proposing that we can't use only the Ghana card?
Well, yes, our MPs have said it, and they have even proposed that amendment in the CI, which is currently under consideration. And that, you see, you go to a community or you go to places where people don't have the ID card? How do they get access to registration? And so it is always there. And my information has been drawn to the fact that even the National Identification Authority itself has amended their law to include that of vouching when somebody is going to register as a Ghanaian for the national ID card. And then there is other people who have the cards already. They come and vouch for them. And so even the NIA law has been amended to include that. And that makes it life a little more comfortable for other people who can be identified as Ghanaians and who have the legitimate right and card can then come and vouch for. I think the law was making provision for 2 people vouching for not more than 10 people or thereabout. The number is about 3 or 10. I will have to check. And so that proposal has been made that if that proposal is accepted, then the NIA will not be the only sole NIA card will not be the only sole identity of proof, and that 2 people who are registered voters can vouch for about 2, 3 or thereabout people to also be able to register. When you are able to do that, then of course you create an opportunity for a lot more people to get their names in the register. The fact of the matter is that nothing should be done to place impediment in the way of people who want to register and have the ability and the right to vote. And that is exactly what we are talking about. But you could see clearly that today, as the NIA even is operating, you go to, at Accra, I think you have to go to Elwak and go there and see the number of people there and the stories people have been telling. There are people who have tried over 3 weeks to 1 month and they are not getting the ID card and they even have to give up. I don't think the Electoral Commission should subscribe to a system where it makes it very difficult for people to access the opportunity to even register. Again, you have a situation where the Electoral Commission, by law, is supposed to be independent of government control. And so, if they are asked to undertake exercises like registration voters, they do it from they're expected to do it from a more impartial point of view. If you come to National Identification Authority, you know the National Identification Authority is under the Office of the President.
Yes.
And the Office of the President is a political establishment which has partisan interest in whatever we do. So if you want an independent body like the Electoral Commission to rely on a partisan institution like the Office of the President, because I mean, take the Executive Secretary or the person in charge of the National Identification Authority. Clearly, the person is a political animal, and we all know how appointments are made and establishments under the Office of the President can be manipulated. So, if you want to use that one as a basis for the Electoral Commission to work, then of course it's up to the issue. The conflict of interest system has come in, and we cannot trust the NIA as is under the Office of the President to impartially undertake an exercise. Look, when they were selecting regions where the continuous NIA registration would take place, check from the voter region whether they gave them any opportunity to do that.
Well, let me bring you back to the vouching system. And there are 2 things. As for the passport, when I asked the deputy EC chairperson, he had no reason. He just said they took a decision to take it out. The vouching system, he said they were clearly against because it's become the biggest source for the registration of underage persons or minors. That sometimes you go to communities, they know that the person they are vouching for is not 18. But they all keep vouching for him or her. And so they find it that if you can get rid of that system, you also get rid of the registrations of minors to a large extent. Do you agree?
Now, when you go to the NIA, I personally don't agree because I believe that it will take some time for us to get to a point where every Ghanaian who is born. Because, as we speak now, there are several people in this country who don't have birth certificates because they don't have access to it. But elsewhere, where they rely on this national identification exercise and others, the moment you are giving birth, right at that time, the process of giving you a birth certificate is initiated, and you get it. And so everybody in Europe or America or whatever you want to call it, have a system where just at birth you are issued with an ID card. In this country, we don't have such a birth certificate. We don't have such a system, and so you need to put systems, intermediary systems in place that will not, disenfranchise people unnecessarily. And it has been done since 1992, and we continue to perfect it. That is why even during the registration period, agents are brought and they are able to challenge, and the register is exhibited, and people who feel that minors have been included are given opportunity to come and challenge them for their names to be expunged, and registration review committees and all of them have been put in place. And this has served us very, very well. And so I believe that until we have a system in place where, for instance, as we speak now, every district would have been doing registration for the NIA, and then you just walk into an NIA office and then you are registered. And then we know that the system is so perfect and in place that whoever wants to access it can go and access it. When you have a situation where accessing the Ghana card itself has become one of the biggest challenges, and for years people are struggling and they cannot get it, you cannot use such a system to introduce such a system into an electoral process, which will eventually or ultimately disenfranchise millions of Ghanaians from participating in the voting process. And so the caution Afarajan has given is a caution that must be taken seriously. And I believe that our MPs, civil society, and all those who are interested in the peace of this country will ensure that we heed to that advice and tread cautiously, so that we do not create a situation where millions of Ghanaians will be disenfranchised and will not be able to participate in what is their constitutional right of self-determination.
Let me ask you, what else do you think should be added to the Ghana card? You've talked about the vouching system, of course. Should that be the only one, or there are some other ID cards you feel should be part of the process?
Well, I'm even surprised because, you see, there are a number of cards that are biometrically produced now. And for that matter, I believe that, for instance, the Ghana passport, and that is where my biggest regret comes in, because, you see, if you can use Ghana passport to do everything in this country and elsewhere, then of course one cannot say that to identify yourself as a Ghanaian you cannot use Ghana passport. But my regret is the fact that the birth certificate begets the Ghana passport, and in the last elections and the last CI, Ghana passport was accepted as one of the source documents for identification. The Ghana passport, before you get it, you need to get a birth certificate. And that is why I was very, very worried that the Supreme Court, agreed that one can use Ghana passport as a source of proof of citizenship, while the source document that really begets the Ghana passport was rejected. I believe that some other cards like the Ghana passport like this can be used as a source document or a means of identification for one to undertake the registration exercise.
Chairman, on second thought, do you think you should have been part of the, what they call it, IPAC? I know your concerns, because this morning, speaking to you, I'm not sure you even have a clear understanding of what the EC would do, because you were expecting limited voter registration. Perhaps you were taken aback when I told you that the deputy chair of the EC says, no, that's not what they are doing. And then you're also fighting off a Ghana card process, which they said was endorsed by all political parties who were at IPAC. Should you have been there?
No. Let me explain. The preparation for the CI, the constitutional instrument, normally when it is being done, political parties representatives are asked to nominate people to serve on that special committee to work or prepare the CI. The Electoral Commission wrote to us, and we wrote back and nominated 2 people to serve on that committee. Alhaji Hudu Yaya and our Deputy Election Director Amati, where names were presented. The Electoral Commission subsequently wrote to Alhaji Hudu Yaya for a meeting. When the time for the meeting came in and Alhaji Hudu Yaya was going to attend the meeting, they came with a telephone call and said that the meeting has been rescheduled. So the party has made itself available to participate in the processes towards the preparation of the CI. So it doesn't mean that the party has, abandoned their responsibility. And so that is why we said we were taken aback when they say all political parties have agreed, because a process for the preparation of the CI was initiated, and the party was invited, and the party responded, and the party gave representatives to serve on the committee. And the Electoral Commission has since not convened any meeting where our representatives were there to take such a decision. That is why we say we are not part of such a decision. If the Electoral Commission says political parties have agreed, in any case, we have pushed the idea that when you come to electoral processes, in fact, previously when we were doing CI, the NDC and MPP are given automatic representation on the committee to work on the CI, while the smaller parties are asked to all of them together put 1 or 2 people to join the process. So we have not abandoned our responsibility. The Electoral Commission have not involved us in the processes towards the preparation of the CI, as we responded and actually sent names of our representatives who were supposed to serve on that committee.
I had a different account of that. A very different account.
Yeah, definitely. That's the situation.
Yes. So because he says that what they ask you to nominate somebody for was for modalities, not what happened to the CI. So they haven't gotten to the point where your representative will come in.
But the CI itself, it is the preparation of the CI that party representatives are brought in. The CI is, the processes began with the Electoral Commission, political parties, civil society, and some other group of people, technical people, who put it together before the draft is sent to Parliament. That is how the process is done. For every time that CI has been prepared, all the preparatory work before the CI is presented as draft to Parliament, includes the technical expertise and the inputs from the political parties, which we readily send our membership to the Electoral Commission to participate in the process.
You conclude your statement by saying, wish to assure Ghanaians that the NDC will not sit aloof for the MPP government to collude with the Electoral Commission to rig the 2024 elections. Are you seeing collusion in what the EC is doing? And you are saying the agenda is to rig the 2024 elections?
Obviously, the modus operandi of the NIA in trying to deny Ghanaians who are desirable to acquire the national identification card clearly points to the fact that they are colluding to ensure that as many people as possible, especially in rural communities and regions that are considered to be the stronghold of the NDC. You go there and you see, when the exercise even started, the challenges people go through, machines are not working, systems are broken down, and then you go to other places, even the distribution of the equipment for the registration alone, if you go and check how regional allotments were made, you then understand that something untoward was happening. That is why we believe that the NIA, which is headed by an officer appointed by the MPP and who clearly is a partisan person, we cannot rely on NIA card for the Electoral Commission to use it as a basis for their registration exercise. That is where our suspicion of collusion comes in. And we believe strongly that this is being done deliberately to rig the 2024 elections.
What do you mean when you say you will not sit aloof? What would you do?
Well, first of all, we have a strong representation in Parliament, and we have had a series of meetings with our MPs, and we believe that the legal processes that are supposed to put in place to ensure that what ought to be done is done is in the pipeline, and now MPs are working on it. And so there are a lot of other things that are being done to ensure that our inputs are brought on board for consideration.
And if it's able to get through Parliament and the law passes, does that end it? Essentially, you get your members to run after Ghana card and get Ghanaians.
We have not asked our people not to go for Ghana card. We have encouraged every Ghanaian and every NDC member to make sure that they go for the Ghana card, because we believe that the Ghana card is a good card for several other purposes. For instance, today, if you have a bank account and you want to operate it, the bank expects that you must get a Ghana card. So apart from the Ghana card being proposed to be used for voting purposes, the Ghana card is useful for several other things. So we have encouraged our membership to go in for the Ghana card. As for that one, every opportunity that we get, we encourage them that go for the Ghana card. But the issue is that it is being made very difficult for people to access the Ghana card. And you are not supposed to make the registration of voters a laborious exercise that will deliberately disenfranchise so many Ghanaians from it. So we will be looking at all fronts, the political fronts, the legal fronts, the parliamentary, and all other areas to ensure that Ghanaians are not unnecessarily disenfranchised from participating in upcoming elections.
Well, thank you, Mr. Ofosu Ampofo, for speaking to us this morning.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah. And of course, the promise the NDC makes in the statement is that soon they'll come out with a statement that the NDC will fully apprise the general public of the implications of the statements made by the Electoral Commission in the coming days on this absurd and unreasonable decision of the Electoral Commission. That's one aspect.